Hello, let's get started right away using colored pencils to create value. For the first section at top, we're going to create 5 different values using one colored pencil. And the way to do that, as you guys all know, is pressure. So if you apply a little bit of pressure, it'll come out light, and the more pressure you add, the darker it will come out. The other thing I want to remind you about is the direction of your stroke. You want to maintain the same direction. It can be up and down, it could be horizontal, it could be coming from a diagonal. But whatever way you choose, you should stick with it just to keep this worksheet nice and neat. I prefer to work on the diagonal, and that's what I'm going to do. You could start on either end. I'm going to start on the right end, and I'm going to start with my light stroke. Some people prefer to start with their darkest stroke using the most pressure and then lightening up their pressure as they go to the next boxes, and that can work too. It's just a matter of what works for you. But I like to start light because I feel like you can always go back and make things darker, but you can't always go back and make things lighter, especially when you're getting into like lots of pressure or if you were using graphite. And you will see that as I go along, I do go back and in fact make some sections a little bit darker. The goal is to get 5 different values, so you want to make sure that they are distinctly different. Sometimes you can end up making those middle ones look very, very similar, and you could always go back and tweak those. I just want to point out to you guys that you'll notice that my shading is not super confined to the boxes. You can see I've gone outside those boxes a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. As we wrap the top section off, we're going to head towards the bottom section, and that's where we are going to use a couple different colored pencils to make a sort of gradient blend. And you're going to make sure that you use analogous colors for this, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. That will help make a smoother blend, easier to transition between colors. So I'm going to use a red, an orange, and a yellow. And I am going to transition from red to yellow, and it's going to try to be like a gradient. To do that, we're going to combine pressure and layering. So for the first one, I'm going to be pressing down really hard to get a dark red, and as I transition, that's where the layering comes in. So you'll see that when I move to the next box, I'm doing red, pretty dark, because I want it to be mostly red, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the orange on top. And the ratio may change as I move along. So the next one may be less red and more orange as I'm trying to move away from the red and into the orange. So you can see I've gone lighter with the red here, and I'm going to put much more pressure on with my orange to try to get that red-orange that comes between true red and true orange. Now I'm going to do orange all by itself, nice and dark, and then I'm going to start layering the yellow on top. So going forward, it will be orange with a little bit of yellow, then half and half, and then yellow with just a little bit of orange. Once you get really good at this and experiment with different color combinations, it can make coloring and other art projects a lot more fun. Say you were going to color in bubble letters for your name, which is a project we do in 8th grade. Instead of just picking one color, you could have each letter have like a gradient blend going from one color to another. So it can add a lot more interest to some basic drawing and art projects that you might have to do someday. Finish this off with my plain yellow, and then I'm just going to use pressure to end it, so I'll just lighten up my yellow. So this worksheet is going to help you when we get to some of our more complicated value and blending projects. So I want to make sure that you are doing this neatly, that you've got 5 different shades going at top And on the bottom one, you've got a transition between 3 colors. So you could do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, red. Take a look at that color wheel and figure out what combination you want to do. Well, that's that, guys. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see how it comes out, and I'll see you soon.